Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertec and Chibi are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Golden Feather. Today is the 9th of December, and we have episode 147, Q and Ashes, featuring our new friend here, Stickino. How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
So, as always, we have the lovely and talented Chibi here next to me.
Hello.
Newly animated loveliness.
How are you?
How are you? Oh, my day's going great. I'm done with work. Now we get to play. Unfortunately, not everything we want to play, but you know, we get to have fun either way, right?
That's fair.
So, Stickino, tell us, for those who have no idea who you are, who are you? What are you doing here? What brought you to Ashes?
Who am I? That's a very deep, thought-provoking question. I'm
right,
joking.
Right? We like to get existential here.
So, my name's Stickino. I go by the nickname Q. A lot of people know me by Q in this community. Yeah, man. I think I had actually explained this in one of my most recent videos a few weeks ago. I found out about Ashes of Creation back in 2020, and I think this is how a lot of people found out about Ashes, and it was that Lazy Peon video, right? Like, genuinely the most exciting MMORPG. And from then, sorry, it's my dog, but and then, you know, just like from then, I kept up with it, you know. I never even thought of making content for it. I was like, you know, like, this seems like a really, really, really cool game. I'm so sorry, guys. She's like freaking out.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, I never thought of making content for it. It was just something that I wanted to play, right? It's like the whole, we're gonna have a brand new game that's gonna, you know, like change the way we see everything. So I was like, all right, that's super cool. And the year went by, kept keeping up with it. 2021 went by. I played the alpha, right? Got into that, and I really enjoyed that. And you know, this year approached, and it just kind of dawned more and more on me, because I was already a content creator, and you know, I've done a ton of different things with like I went to school for acting. I'm also a musician, so I do a lot of creative things. And I was like, yo, like, what if I just like the content that I'm creating? What if I just like stop doing that and really just focus on Ashes? Because this is a project that I really, really, really believe in. And you know, ever since then, I've been sticking with it, you know. I'm so sorry if that was like such a long, you know, answer, but yeah.
Well,
no, it's all good. I mean, we're here to know about you and share your background with everybody here. Also, meat hooks, thank you, my goodness.
Holy mackerel. And I was away from the desk when it happened, but I heard there was a raid, so
yes.
I'm guessing, was that a Jalan? Because Jalan's not on anymore, so I'm guessing that was a Jalan.
Yep, it was a Paradox Gaming Network. If you guys haven't checked out PGN, if you're looking for some royalty-free music for behind your videos, PGN has PGN Music now, and they produce a lot of free-to-use, non-copyright music for you to put behind your videos. So please check them out. I think it's this one. Yeah, I remembered. But yeah, so I was wanting to know what got you into Ashes specifically and starting to make content.
So what got me into Ashes, and what got me into making Ashes content? Is that the question? Word. Okay. So like I said before, I was already creating content. I've been on Twitch creating content for the past like 4 years, since like 2018, and you know, playing different things, doing, you know, different creative things. And like I said, you know, I was like, you know, I'm passionate about like what I'm doing, but I was really like hitting a lot of burnout. And I kind of wanted a way to keep things fresh. And I was like, you know, instead of like just like hopping around from like thing to thing, what if I just kind of get behind this project that I really believe in. And like I said, ever since I found out about it, I just like it's insane because like for me, like I'll pick something up and then I'll put it down. And I have this weird thing, like I call it FOMO. I know everyone knows what FOMO is, but I have like a specific FOMO. Like if I'm not there to see like the entirety of something, like it really, really, really bothers me, right? So like in my head, and this is like some like psychopath stuff, I know, but like I found out about Ashes in 2020, but it bothers me so much that I wasn't able to find out about it like during when it was in the Kickstarter. That's just side tangent.
You want to hear my big bummer situation? I found out about Ashes a day after the Kickstarter ended.
Gosh.
Like one day after.
Oh my gosh, that would break my heart.
Yeah, I was luckily able to get into the summer Kickstarter that they did, but yeah. What does the fear of my overlords have to do with this? So just to kind of let you guys know what we're going to be talking about today, the main topics are going to be around the active blocking. A lot of people have been chatting about that in the Ashes community this week, as well as a bunch from the showcase. I know that Stakana was interested in chatting about the December showcase and the November showcase that we just had, and Alpha 2 dates potentially. So we have a lot for you, but I'm pretty excited to kind of deep dive into what Stakana thinks about things.
Yeah.
So the rest of the show is all you. This is where we stop talking and you just I just
you take over now.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. So what we're going to talk about is how do we set up microwaves, guys? But
it was a behind the scenes joke. Trying to test mics. I said, just give me a joke, something funny, or just directions on how to set up a microwave. Went with the microwave directions.
I have to say, Chaos and Lace, I think a wee one is a bit more important. But
in theory.
So let's see. I know there wasn't really a whole lot of conversation or showcase rather on the active blocking, but we have a few different topics here. I'll let you go ahead and choose whichever one you want to go with. Yeah. I expect this will take a bit of length. It's a big topic.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, in terms of the active blocking is what you're getting at, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually a really interesting thing because. So now, before I get into this, let me ask you two, because you're both seasoned in MMOs. What do you two think about like the active blocking? Like, well, just like, and you don't have to like go crazy into it because again, like I'm new into this space. I just wanted to know like your personal opinions on the active blocking because I feel like every time, or every time I've heard of it, at least like it hasn't caused like an uproar, but like there's definitely like a tug of war, like with this topic, So I'm just really curious to know before I get into it, like, what do you two think?
I'll let Chibi go first because I main tank, so I could talk about blocking and stuff all day long.
Yeah,
I can't block for shit. That's my opinion. I was just talking with somebody else recently, I think on the forums, and they're saying that, Steven didn't do a very good job of showing off the active blocking. And I said, I probably wouldn't have done much better myself. Because I'm not very good at PvP. I'm not very good at active blocking or things like that. I've never actually tried. But we literally had, I think at the beginning of either this year or last year, we called it New Year, New Yeet. And that was this live stream where Steven got yeeted across the screen by one of the boss mobs he was showing off.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, that'd be me. There, bye, TV. So, yeah, for me, it's hard to have an opinion on it because I main healing. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and me, so my thing with tanking, right? I'm all about things that give me more stuff to do, more decisions to make, and a more active role in my survival, which is thus, the survival of everybody with me, right? I'm supposed to be in the way of all the damage coming in, and there's a healer supposed to be propping me up, putting band-aids on me while I'm getting slapped around.
Yeah.
Well, myself, I would rather be able to actively block a big hit rather than have, like, say, a random chance to block whatever random hits.
The
so
RNG
there's
aspect,
like a big beastie coming after me, and they're just like poking at me real quick with a couple of small attacks. If I'm getting just RNG blocks, I could be blocking a bunch of like 100 hit point attacks. But then when the 700 hit point attack comes in, 0 blocking.
That's true.
What the hell good does that do me? So what good does that do me? Or, I could be just letting the little ones come through because I know what's coming. I see the big hit telegraph coming through. I'm going to start actively blocking, or use whatever cooldown I need to, however big the hit is. And the healer's going to thank me, which means everyone else is going to thank me too, because I'm not going to die, and then the healer's not going to die right after me.
Yeah.
And, cascade, the dominoes. But so I've always been a fan of having some extra buttons to hit. And if there's an active block, that means you're using up a resource that you could gain back typically in most games. Just some kind of a stamina or something. So it's not just waiting on a cooldown, like a solid amount of time. Like how much I block is going to depend on how long it takes it to cool down, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more dynamic and interesting.
Right. Thank you both. Because now, right, the way, and this is how I've been looking at a lot of Ashes of Creation. Like when I play, just because like I'm like newer, it's like the MMO space and like MMOs in general. I don't active block, right? Because like I don't really need to. So when I see stuff like this and I see conversations like this, do I want to try out tanking? Like, yeah, for sure. But the main thing that concerns me is like the way Vertec just explained everything. Like you clearly have a passion for it. So what has Intrepid been doing with all of these systems that they've been putting in the game? So what I mean by that is I think, or what I would like to see in terms of the whole active blocking. Personally, I want active blocking rather than like the RNG aspect too, because I agree, right? I feel like it just makes for like a cooler story, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, like something happened and I blocked and then we did this and then we came out victorious. But my gripe, in my personal opinion, is just how are they gonna take it and make it the best that we've seen? Because like I think, in my personal opinion, I think that's exactly what's gonna happen, right? Because that's exactly what Ashes is, right? They're just taking like the greatest systems, and I'm not aware of like some really good games that have really great active blocking, but just taking great active blocking and implementing that system into Ashes. Because I do agree, when Steven showed it off, it kind of was like a drive-by, like in a way. It was like, hey guys, like here's the active blocking, and like they kept going on. When I definitely think, and I know it's not like fleshed out, but I definitely think that in itself, I wouldn't say it needs its own showcase, but it definitely needs its own segment. Right. And it's not just like, hey, like we're fighting some mobs in the graveyard, I'm just doing some blocking. I think it's more of like all right, like here's like when we get hit with a heavy attack, here's how it looks when we get hit with like a light attack, here's how it looks when we get hit with like a special whatever it may. Because I
definitely agree with that. I think that's a really good point, because also, I mean, Steven kind of does a little bit of a roast on himself but from the community, saying, oh, I don't think the community liked me playing Ranger very much, so now it's up to you to do the Ranger, and for me, I felt like if I were to try to play tank, it would not be nearly as good as Vertec playing tank, because I don't play tank. I don't know how to play tank, and so I'll just be running around smashing buttons and just doing random crap until things maybe work or I die, one of the two. But if you have somebody who's a little bit better at that type of gameplay doing it, I think that is where more of the active blocking showing off might be seen a little bit better, because I, for one, really suck at it. So I couldn't ever, like, I can't judge Steven at all for that, because I wouldn't do much better at showing that off. Yeah. I'd feel like, oh man, I missed again. You know, but Snickers, I see your thing, but that's actually my next point. There's, to me, a difference, and I'm coming from a web developer, software engineer's perspective on this. There's, to me, a difference of not knowing how to do something and not having decided what system to fully place in for that. They have the active blocking in. I think what they're trying to figure out is what resource do they want to use up, what will be making the most sense, and what would be something that they're capable of doing. Because, I mean, looking at this conviction, I think is what it was called.
Yes.
I think that's really awesome. You get stacks of conviction for attacking enemies with it, and then you can do extra healing with that. That is a unique system to me, and sure, it's been done before, but not quite in the same way. And I think they're trying to figure out how do they keep this train of making it unique, so it's not just another hanging out in a MMO playing tank. Okay, I block. Like, how do I make this feel different? How do I make it feel weighty? And I might be the optimist in that, but that's also coming from somebody who, I may know how something's supposed to work, but the way that I do it in the back end can change depending on other things. Yeah, exactly. It's what Mihooks is saying. It's definitely a thing that can be experimented with. If it's something that isn't working in any of its iterations, I have no doubt they won't force it. Absolutely. But also, I think, kind of along what Jamie said and what Vertec has been saying, tanks should be able to actively block differently than I should as a healer.
1000%.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If I can just add in, and I'll let you go, Vertec. I'm so sorry. But like, yeah, because that's their thing. You know what I'm saying? That's you know, for lack of a better term, that's in their bag. That's what they're gonna use. You know, for clerics, it's like you're gonna heal differently than a tank does, because like tanks normally don't heal. Obviously, and you guys get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to add that in.
I don't know. I think, what do you think about this? Sorry, just random theory craft in my head. Just popped in because of what Jamie Chaos said. What if you get hit on your shield? Like, I know somebody is attacking me, that would increase my rage towards them. And then you could expend that rage to attack them in return. I don't know. Just a random thing that popped in my head. Sorry.
No, I think... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please go ahead to Vertec.
I was just going to say that, but then would that kind of mechanic need to be renamed for a couple of them? Like a couple of the secondary classes, or would they leave it the same? Because let's say you're a paladin. Paladins, and they're not necessarily supposed to be ragey, right? But like tank warrior would definitely be a rage mechanic for sure.
But then you're kind of hinting at something. What if it's slightly different depending on what your secondary archetype is?
Then it gets really in depth. Really in depth. Yeah, and that's I think probably going to be a thing that they need to think about with resources and whatnot, because it's got to be something that's named appropriately for all of the classes of that archetype, or else they're going to be doing work forever on just how dramatically different each class is.
Chaos is having none of it. Chaos wants 8 fully in-depth tanks.
I mean, I agree with you. I would love it. But I think for launch, maybe they could stick to the basics and then expand as time goes on, once they get a feel for how everybody reacts to everything.
I feel like that adds to the perspective of we, as much as we are being told things and we're being shown things, we still are not in the same amount of info as they are in the studio. We have no idea what they're actually doing.
Yeah. This is true.
And I mean, we see this stuff, but how do we know with what Steven said previously that they're not ahead of us in terms of how far they've actually gotten, and maybe this is like the A2 environment or something? You know, maybe their own personal in-studio environment is like well ahead, because I know that I have, from my experience of coding and what I have in my dev server versus what I have on the public server are two different things. So,
I think. Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Chibi.
Oh no, Annie Lise actually asked you a question.
Yeah, cool.
Uh,
Hey, Jamie, Annie. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks, guys, for tuning in. Classes that I have my eye on. So, usually, right, like I just go damage because, like, I'm a noob. Not saying that anyone that does damage is a noob. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But
because you like to dance in the fire. It's fine.
That's
it's
exactly
fine.
why. But no,
you're the one I'm not healing. No, I'm kidding.
But no, it's usually the most common. But you know, as I said before, just like with me following Ashes and just pretty much just wanting to be here from the beginning and seeing it all the way through, as long as I can, I want to try everything, you know. So like Vertec, I want to, you know, be by your side taking some notes on how to tank. You know, Chibi, I want to learn how to, you know, heal. I want to learn everything. So I think when Alpha 2 comes out, I'm gonna probably go. I'm gonna try Mage. I definitely want to try Bard though. I feel like I have to try the Bard.
So are you in general leaning support or like DPS / support?
I don't know, right? Just because again, just you know, it's I haven't really, you know, really gotten into MMOs the way I've wanted to. So like I said, like I've played WoW, like I've played New World, and in those I've been DPS, right? I've been mages in those. I've never been a bard in anything though. But I don't know, maybe, you know, in my head I'm like, oh, like I'm an actor in real life, so maybe I should be a bard. I know it's the stupidest reasoning ever, but I mean, I don't know. I figured I'd try it. So definitely Mage, definitely Bard. I definitely want to try out Tank. I don't know if I want the responsibility though. You know, that's the thing.
That's where you like try out Tank by being like the off tank instead of the tank primary tank.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm just filling in.
Hang out with me. I'll teach you how to tank. I'll teach you how to tank.
Word. Yeah.
Be my off tank. I'll teach you some things. It won't seem so daunting after that.
Listen, I need to learn everything. Because, like, you know, and this brings up another topic, but as tanks, like, you know, like you need to know essentially like the ins and outs of, you know, like the dungeons and the raids that you're going into. And please correct. Yeah, see, so that's a lot of pressure. I feel like, you know, if I'm doing damage, I can just kind of show up in my PJs, like throw a couple of, you know, DPS and, you know, all right, cool, like we're done.
But you know what? Here's the secret to that though. If it's a new dungeon for everybody has to learn it. So you're not the only one. Yeah. If you're the only new one, you could jump in as DPS, see what the fights are like real quick with 1 or 2 runs, and then start tanking.
Chaos is going blind and they think you know what's up.
Yeah. But just get OP and go in beforehand and it doesn't matter.
I mean, what you're wanting out of your gameplay with understanding the different perspectives is also very handy when it comes to having a raid leader, because having a raid leader that knows what each classes have, like in terms of their limitations and what they excel at and things like that's really helpful. Leroy, no Leroy Snuckers, no, that did not work very well for Steven. You saw it on the live stream. He bailed on them. This is why we don't Leroy. I thought that was funny. It was like, Leroy, yeah, never mind actually. But yeah, there's actually a point that I wanted to bring up, and it's from the forums by, I think it's Lineker, about the active blocking. And Lineker was kind of, hey, Golad. I was looking at Lineker's feedback about how they were breaking down like this percentage for daggers, that percentage for two-hand greatsword, etc., or shields. And so you guys can look through that if you want. It's mainly just a bunch of numbers, what I just explained for the most part. Just they were thinking if you're not a tank, you might be like 15% with a dagger, 30% with a great sword, but a tank would be 30% with a dagger, 60% with a great sword or something. Always Leroy Jenkins in the face of evil. Okay, fair. Show no fear. But I don't know. I was kind of thinking, what if you had the ability to kind of spec into the active blocking percentages or passive blocking percentages? Because one point somebody had was that active blocking is very much your action oriented combat. And so what if action isn't your style? Then all that active blocking is not really helpful for you because that's not your play style. And maybe there's a skill that would be better used for somebody who's more tab focused, who just doesn't really prefer the action. So I just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
So go ahead, Vertek.
I was just gonna drop in real quick. Like I read through this Lineker's post, and it was long, and I think it, if anything, made things a little more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Going kind of in a way down the line that Jalan talks about with having a certain health pool for shields. You could have a health pool for all the different weapons as well, and that, you know, daggers would be a small health pool, two-hand sword would be a big one, etc. And just if you block that much damage, you can no longer block with it for a long time because it's exhausted. It's exhausted its quote-unquote health pool. So it's going to take longer to recharge being able to block with that, plus more damage passes through it anyway. So if you're tanking, trying to be like an avoidance tank using like dual daggers or something, or, you know, sword in one hand, dagger in the other, then you're going to be able to block every once in a while and not a lot of damage, but you're going to be quick and be able to dodge and duck out of the way and stuff.
Yeah.
Or you could go the full like tank with a full shield and, you know, a mace or something, and you're going to be able to withstand a little bit of blocking with each one. That's my take on it. Is you could just simplify it that way. And you got a smaller health pool with each weapon thing. And like you were saying, Chibi, you can spec as a tank, you can spec into extending those stamina pools, or those life pools for each different type of weapon that you're trying to block with.
Right.
So the normal person could block, say, 10 damage with a dagger, but a tank, after, you know, specking into blocking, could block, say, 100 or 200.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel like I say this all the time. I'm like, guys, like, we have to wait. We have to wait. We have to wait. We have to see more. We have to see more.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe this, we'll probably get into this like later. If not, no worries. But like there were some people who weren't happy with this most recent, you know, development update. And I'm like, guys, I'm like, bro, like what, why are we unhappy here? But just to, you know, touch on the act of blocking before we like leave that alone, you know, that specking idea is like such a fire idea, because like you just said, like, you know, if that is something that they want to do, you know, maybe they have a certain build for that. And I think that would like really be a good solution for it, to be honest. They might not do that. I like I said, I don't know, but I feel like that would be a fire solution.
I'm going to pin this message by Snuckers. Actually, you're better at the tank stuff. Do you want to talk on that first?
Yeah, let me go ahead and let me put it up here in the featured chat one.
Thank you. I can unpin it.
Make it a little easier. All right. So, and then there were two others I wanted to toss up there, or one other anyway. Let me get rid of this other one. We already talked about that. But yeah, so I don't think there should be one, to be honest. You can't really make a system where you choose tab or action. When you make systems like that, it's better for it to be straight up hybrid, where some things are tab and some are action. For example, hard CCs, some abilities and active block are action, and rest are tab. And that's kind of my favorite kind of system, but most people consider that action with some tab stuff in it. But then I think and this is where things get confusing, because some people, including I think even Intrepid, mentioned something like it's an enhanced tab instead of a tab enhanced action. Either way, it's a hybrid system, and those are my favorite, because there's some things where you want to target one specific person, one specific whatever, and you're casting a spell that doesn't have to fly through the air. It should smack them. And there's even some things that are gonna, like, it should just poof, because it doesn't have to fly through the air and hit anything, right? It's just bam, it should smack them. The end. But if you're doing, like, I don't know, like a fire, like a flamethrower dragon breath thing, and you're aiming at something, it's going to hit everything in its way and possibly not even make damage all the way to the end. There's like things like smart heals, which are amazing, like within a certain distance or in a certain direction. It heals whoever needs it the most in that direction or within that range. Those are amazing. But if you're trying to do a super burst, holy light from the heavens heal because someone's about to fall over dead, that should be a targeted thing. Like you tab on somebody and that one heal is going to just crash onto their skull and make them all better.
Right. Right. Snuckers follows up by saying, "Cause to be honest, how do you design a block that will be on, I think on par with active block and won't force you to use one or another solution?" And I mean, I think that's basically what they have to figure out, right? And that's a lot of the things that they're doing haven't been done before. These are things that they are building from the ground up. These are systems that they have to make and they have to figure out. And you know, I get that there's a lot of weird feelings about everything. I mean, the biggest one being that the one of the hot points that I noticed people did not like was the part where Steven's talking to the dev and saying, "Oh no worries, Snuckers. I just want to make sure I'm not like meaning like the wrong word or something. So you're good." But Steven was talking to one of the devs and they were saying they weren't exactly sure what the resource was going to be for the active block.
Yep.
And so a lot of people are like worried about that because they're like, well, if they don't have that figured out, then like how do we know they're like on par with the game? And I mean, they may have active block figured out on a basic level for what maybe non-tanks are going to be using. Because I've seen that with the fighter and the cleric now, albeit like not as much, but still, maybe what they're still trying to figure out is specifically for the tank. To kind of go back to earlier.
Yeah. And, so you know my theory on that?
What?
Is that they know basically what they want to do with active blocking, but there are 64 classes that who knows, maybe they are having minor variances in different resource pools. And if there are 64 classes with minor variances in resource pools, maybe one specific solution for active blocking isn't fitting well with some of them. So they need to try to fine tune it in a way where it does play nice with every single class. Yeah. And it's its own separate, unique thing.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I agree. And I think, and not to sound like a broken record, but I think, it just goes back to that whole like waiting and like just kind of like trusting the process. You know, I feel like a lot of people in this community have been following this game for a while. Granted, it's picking up in like, you know, like popularity, but it's just like if we've trusted them before, you know, I'm sure it's insane, right? Because like we saw like a few months ago, like a month or two ago, The Gathering. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, The Gathering is so great." Now we're like active blocking. They don't have it figured out. Oh my gosh, we're gonna die. Like, it's like, guys, like, yo, like just give it some time. But that's another thing as well. Just like, you know, it's probably a lot of, you know, like just like coding in itself. Like with 64 classes, everything has to literally like fall Tetris itself into place. You know. Yeah. And it's probably difficult. So yeah. And I mean, I get the apprehension. I know that there's a lot of people within our community here that have been burned by other games. I mean, look at Jalon from Paradox Gaming Network. He just said today that he had backed or helped like 3 other games before they flopped. Yeah. And was about to give up content creation when he found Ashes. So like there's people that have tried kickstarting another MMO that failed, and there's a lot of trying and missing. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I could make an MMO or like be a part of that. That sounds really like stressful, and it sounds really complicated, and I don't know if I could do that. So like the fact that we have this much, I mean, it's crazy from what I've seen from 2017. It's a huge increase. I mean, yeah, we've migrated to 5.0 and now 5.1 for the beautiful shrubs and everything. But I mean, it's a work in progress. I know that if you look at it, there's been
at the beginning, it was really slow because they didn't have very many people on the team. And then Maggie came on and we saw a clear change of focus and direction. And I feel like she's really helped with Intrepid with making sure that, you know, we keep on the ball and we don't say things that we don't know for sure we can hit. Because, I mean, they tried that and then their servers had issues, which is why they had the downtime for a good year or so. Yeah. And that was really hard to go through in terms of a content creator. But I can only imagine how much harder it was for them to be like, we have to rework what now? Oh gosh. Yeah, that whole coding aspect. But just to go back to like, you know, what you were saying, because I really love this topic, and you know, please just put, like, kind of reel me back in if I'm getting off topic. But I just love this topic right here. Because seriously, right? It's like we all freak out. I can understand if you found out about the game last week and you're seeing something in the most recent development update that you don't like, but I feel like, and this is not based in fact, I don't have any stats on anything, but I feel like your average Ashes of Creation fan or follower has been following the game for a while, has known about it for a while. So at what point do they prove themselves to us, right? At what point do we start thinking in our head, like, you know what? They're doing it right. There's a little hiccup right here, but no, like they got it, you know? Like I just said, we just got the Gathering. We heard about Naval. They damn near doubled the map. Now we get one. Like this entire year has been literally insane. The seasons, like everything has been insane, you know. And it's I don't want to say it's a little like disheartening, right? Like I'm a content creator as well as you guys are, you know. But it's just like it's like, guys, like, you know, like. We all want a good game, and I get it. Like that's the main thing. Like everybody wants the game to be good. We all want a good game, you know. So like, let's not berate them. Let's and I'm not trying to like, you know, like kiss up or anything like that. But like, look at this entire, literally look at this entire year. It's literally been insane. It's been insane, and I think people want, you know, like I know we had said like the whole Alpha 2 dates or whatever, but like I think people want to get into Alpha 2 because they think it's going to be like, all right, like this is the game. And we get, and I say we as like Ashes of Creation, but like we as a community with like Ashes of Creation as a game, it's judged as if like it's been out already, and it's like it's not. They're still working on it. Look at what they've given us. Look at how they've proved themselves to us. And I feel like people still feel as if they have to prove themselves by releasing like the Alpha 2, and people are going to judge them when the Alpha 2 is going to look completely different from the final game. So I could go on about this forever. I love this topic because I literally like sit in my room, like not even creating content, just like thinking about it, because it's like, you know, like people and like their emotions and like how they react to things. But it's just like, yo, like, you know, can you imagine if someone, you know, a friend, someone in a relationship, you know, your spouse, whoever, a teacher, just someone in your life, they've been proving themselves to you for 5 years, and you are still giving them flack by the first sign of something not going right. You'd be like, yo, like that's not a good friend. That's not a good spouse. That's not a good X, Y, or Z, because they made one mistake. But look at everything they've done. Right. And they didn't even do anything bad. It wasn't even a mistake. You just didn't like something, you know? So like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you just didn't like it, you know? Yeah. And they're not done. Well, so again, I'm sorry, I'm getting animated. No, you're all good.
Oh no, animation is good. I mean, we're animated.
Yeah, literally. But I wanted to, if you don't mind me cutting in, Vertec.
Go for it.
Name A, welcome in. We are doing well tonight. How are you? We have our wonderful guest this week, Stakeno. And actually, Stakeno wanted to talk about an Alpha 2 date as well. So I think this is a great time to kind of get on that topic since we're already almost there. So we've chatted about this. My guess, based off of what we're seeing right here on the screen, I would easily say spring to beginning of summer. Potentially for the beginning of testing and everything.
Okay. Vertec.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, I know there's a lot of folks that are saying it's gonna take a lot longer, but I think for an alpha, Probably summer. I used to keep saying spring, maybe early summer, but it might be towards late summer.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, spring, summer. No, 2023, not 2024.
I don't think they're that far off.
Yeah, honestly, when I say alpha, for some reason I feel like people tend to think like alpha means like all the systems must be done before we can get into alpha, and I don't think that's true.
Not at all.
Well,
alpha
I guess it also
it's a test. It's a test.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So here's
we're traveling
also,
back in time now.
Yeah, I'll let you get your prediction in, but then after that, I'll drop what I was going to say.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say shout out to Reven, because they are saying what I'm thinking: late Q2 or early Q3. That's like and I'm leaning more toward early Q3. And again, just Vertex, stop me because I know I can get going on this, but I don't think that Steven, Intrepid, everyone, they are not. There's too much relying on this. Like I said, because the Alpha 2's going to get judged as if it's the final game. So they are not going to release. In my heart, these are just what I think. I don't think they're going to release without them being like 1,000,000% ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just me though.
Because the only thing he ever promised was the betas will begin when we have all the systems in place from the Alpha 2.
Yep.
They never said Alpha 2 would begin with all the systems in place.
As a matter of fact, that leads into what I was going to say. Steven has legitimately said on a couple of times when people are saying, hey, are we going to see this in Alpha 2? Are we going to see that in Alpha 2? On multiple occasions, he said, not at the beginning, but before it's over, we'll see that in there. So he's legitimately flat out said, the game will not be fully built out before Alpha 2.
Yeah.
And that's many occasions. If you go back and look at any of the Q&As that have, are we going to see this in Alpha 2? It's either yes, because they're planning on having it right away, or it's by the end of Alpha 2, you'll see that, but not right away. Yeah. And with that being said, then that brings into the question everyone talks about, alpha burnout, right? Mm-hmm. So would you get burnt out by an alpha that had everything built, but there were a lot of bugs that needed to be worked out, but it's all the same stuff? They're not adding anything new? Probably, if it lasted like a year and a half. But what if the alpha was every month or two, they're adding in a new system and they're disabling something else? You have a completely different focus. You're not going to get burnt out on something because you can't keep doing that same thing forever. They're going to turn something off while they make repairs, and they're going to open up something new. And they're going to start testing that thing for a month or two. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to turn that off and turn on something else and test that out for a month or two. So you're actually testing different systems. At least, again, I'm not saying that's how they're going to do it, but that's how I would do it. After all the conversations people have had about different Alpha 2s, the different Alpha 2 techniques and different things they could do with it, and looking at alpha burnout in other games, that to me sounds like a great way for them to actually do it, is pop something open for a month or two and say, hey, this is what we're testing. Give it a month. We're going to test this, and then phase that out, open up something else. Hey, we're done testing that. Now we're going to drop you and bound you in over in this area, and you're going to test that thing for a good month. Yeah. And shut that down, and the other thing gets fixed. So 3 months later, they drop that right back in.
Yeah.
And I think, and I know that what you're saying, like, right, like all of us here are hearing, like, it's a test, but no one is going and thinking that. And just, again, I'm getting a little sidetracked, and I just feel like that usually like hurts like the development of games. Again, like, it's judged on that, but I just wanted to throw that in there. That's all.
No, definitely. I mean, Vertec and I have both done testing for video games before, granted not necessarily MMORPGs, but like we've gone through and they had us test this system and test that system. Okay, well, actually, can everybody take a break real quick? We're going to reset progress. We're going to actually have you go do this thing instead. And nobody can talk to each other. That's the thing. We can talk to each other with this testing because we're able to kind of get our thoughts and stuff. But in true testing, you're not allowed to talk to anybody else until the whole thing is done, because they don't want any sort of biased thinking or opinions. They want your full thoughts and opinions without talking to anybody else. And my favorite thing to do is find people that don't agree with me. I love hearing other people's opinions. I don't want everybody to agree with me because I'm never going to understand a different perspective if I always have the same people around me.
Very true.
And I just
don't worry. I'll resist agreeing with you as long as I can. As long as I can.
I'd rather find you disagreeable. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I know. Yeah, they also have their own internal testing because I mean, right now, what they're doing, this looks to me like an internal testing thing. They have to, to be able to make sure that everything's working well. You know, and I definitely hear where people are coming from. I really, really do. And honestly, I have no idea how they're going to approach this outside of what they have done. I remember from last year during Alpha 1, they brought it down. They did some updates. They brought it back up. And I imagine it'll be very similar.
Same thing as that. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my guess too. Sorry, Chibi, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say, Meme A says, love this community, joined at the August live stream, been following super close. If I can pose a question to the panel, can I get the class and race you plan to go into A2 and any month 1 goals? So mine, I feel like is really easy to guess. I'm going Pyre and I play healer. So I plan on playing cleric. And my month 1 goals kind of depend on what systems are available month 1.
Nice.
Me, I'm gonna be Vec. Hello, look at this pretty face here. I'm gonna be Vec, tank. Since I don't think they're planning on having the secondary stuff all in right off the bat at during the first month, maybe. Hopefully they'll have the secondaries in there, and then I'll be able to experiment with that. But my as early as possible goals are to level up as many tanks as possible and just feel out how different they are and give as many points of feedback as I can about the different tank spec. Because I want to make sure they turn out good.
Yeah, all the tanks. What about you, Q?
I'm thinking an Empyrean Bard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You going snooty?
Yeah, I'm thinking the Empyrean. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So, and as far as like month 1 goals, you know, Jamie had said it. He's like, you know, if people are expecting a game, like they're gonna be disappointed. So like I know, just like, bro, we've been, you know, here for years, and I feel like I'm still like a new creator in this space, but I've known about the game for like 2+ years, going on 3. So it's like I know like when that alpha comes, I'm gonna want to run around and like do all these things, knowing it's gonna get wiped in 40 minutes, right? So I think the biggest thing for me is just I really just want to help Intrepid test out the systems properly, right? Yeah. So if it's naval, you know, and like that's what Vertec was saying a few moments ago, you know, like this month we're gonna focus on X, Y, and Z. If it's naval, that's gonna be my focus, you know, because when the betas come out, then I feel like I can really focus on like what I kind of want to focus on going into the game. But as far as alphas go, I really just want to help them make this game, the greatest that it can be. I've said this several times. I've said it like, and I'll say it until I die. Ashes of Creation is so much bigger than just, and it's so much bigger than just like an MMORPG, you know. And I feel like it can change so many things like in our world. I know it's like, well, like, how do you think an MMO can like change our world? But you know, with the way Steven is going about building it, how he created it himself, and you know, just kind of like what it's doing for like the entertainment industry, like, will this inspire more people to, you know, make like fund their own things and actually do it the proper way? Not the proper way, but do it in a way that like invokes a lot of passion,
right?
And just, I guess, kind of do it the quote unquote right way. So with that being said, again, sorry for the long answer.
Oh no, you're good.
But I really just want to help the game be the best that I can be. I know it's a cop out, but that, and you know, probably see how the corruption system works too. You know,
yeah, so definitely. I'm excited to see how that is. I remember to one of the things you said in Alpha 1, we would just randomly be ported places and then also leveled. Ported and then leveled randomly.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Steven would just be like, to me, and then you just be like ported and like level 15. And we're like,
That's
hi.
funny. Yeah.
Welcome in, Tech. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in,
Yes,
Raiders.
thank you and welcome. But yeah, as far as, changing the world, I'm just saying that if it is done, as you avoided saying, but I'm going to straight up say it properly, if it's done properly, it could very well be a very nice Sword Art Online type environment to just live in. I'm just saying. It could be the very first, it could be the beginning of Sword Art Online.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
No.
But real quick, just to touch base on some of the stuff that happened before, I noted down some comments and we didn't actually touch on them real quick. So I'm going to do so now.
I'm going to just ping you a question real quick while you do that.
Yeah, what Snickers was saying was, sure, assuming they're going to test different systems at the time, but from we know now, it will just be a game that slowly gets new stuff until launch, and all of that for above a year, and after that, people will burn out massively. That is possible. That's the big linchpin in this whole thing, and why I was saying that depending on how it's done, it could very well be a really long alpha phase.
Yeah.
And people may not mind if it's done in a certain way that keeps things fresh. It's still the game that's being tested, but it keeps it fresh because of what parts of the game are being tested, and certain other things you can't burn out on because it's not available because they're doing fixes on it.
Yeah.
And then they release it again and you get to see the improvements, and then you're excited again.
Yeah.
So in theory, that could keep it fresh, but time will tell. Time will tell. I'm huffing my hopium back here, as they say. But we'll see how it pans out. And then Jimmy Chaos says Alpha testing could definitely lead to people needing a break. Not everyone will want to keep making tunes over and over like with Alpha 1. I know it's persistent, but there's a good chance it'll happen a few times. There's a solid chance it's going to happen a few times. It's going to be persistent and not be taken down, but it doesn't mean your characters aren't going to get wiped because they completely changed something about something. And instead of coding away to translate stats, because they make a big change in how stats work and how they interact with each other and how secondaries alter primaries and etc. They're probably just going to find it better to go, you know what? Fresh start tomorrow, guys. Sorry. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Only Chad's level tank. Oh, ow. Jeez. Oof.
I mean,
Snickers asked. Sorry, go ahead.
Not going to deny
it. I asked if you were gonna not deny it.
Yeah, gonna not deny it. Yep.
Snickers asked, did you guys play New World? I like playing instruments on there. I think AOC should match it or beat it. I would love them to. And I actually have never played New World, but I have played Final Fantasy 14. And I kind of enjoyed how they did it in Final Fantasy 14, where anybody could just play instruments. So I thought that was neat, but I know that Steven said something about, only bards would actually get buffs for it,
Yeah. I played a little of New World. I hit level 60 on it, then I just kind of stopped. I stopped before Brimstone Sands came out, and just kind of haven't touched it since. I wasn't able to play any instruments though, because they added that later in.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of class-specific things, Golid was talking about some interesting ideas regarding stargazing, which potentially could be the second reason why some people were a little bit upset by the live stream. Is they felt like there was a lot of look for the whole looking around, my bad, for constellations with trying to figure out where they were, and that led me to wonder if they were timed or if they needed somebody in the back end to maybe ping them so that they would show up for the stream. But I don't know. I'll let Vertec take this away since Vertec is the Vec. But Golid had some very interesting ideas for stargazing.
Yeah, just because I'm a Vec, I mean, outside of this obviously corporeal body, I have experience of being a human, but I have not driven a tractor trailer. But no, as a Vec, I honestly have complete and open sights on what it's going to end up doing. To be honest, I kind of like where Golid's going with it. Like, it needs to be something that we can do and practice and get better at, and have something to do. And you can excel at it. Some things to improve your gameplay on it instead of it just being a random feature like I can talk to animals and all you get is a bird flying by every once in a while going like it's just something quirky. Like it should be something interesting, but at the same time it shouldn't, I think, give like a huge in-game advantage, because then it's going to really start creating like metas for races and things like that. But something handy and interesting and quirky, and you're not going to completely miss out on something if you don't have it, but maybe it'll lead you down to tracking down some more lore.
Like following the end of a rainbow to the pot of gold.
Yeah, there you go.
So I actually had a thought on this, and again, I had like talked about this on the video, and you know, because Steven was pointing out, he was like, well, I am playing a Vec, and you know, Vec worship the stars,
right?
And again, I think this might sound dumb, and I keep prefacing these things because, like, again, like, you know, the whole like being new to MMOs, I'm not sure. I don't want to be like, well, they would never do that, Q. You're an idiot, you know. Just hear me out. But you know, like, what if there was some sort of like an environmental like buff, and you know, it happens to be constellations for the Vec, and like you just said, you know, like, so it's not giving huge in-game advantages. So like there's metas. When you said that, it made me think, because they could give other buffs, right? Like say like, you know, you're exposed to a constellation as a Vec. It's like, all right, like crafting speed is, you know, increased by 10%, or something as simple as that. Like I think that would be kind of cool, you know. But would they do that for all of the other races, you know, in their own like little way, not necessarily like constellation to like, you know, the Empyreans, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just a thought, but I do think, like, you know, to play on the word synergy, but if there was some synergy between the constellation and the Vec, like in game, I think that would be super cool.
Yeah, they would never do that, Q.
I do like Golden's idea of you know, the constellations always be viewable, but they light up when you're in a certain area.
Ooh,
that's
I like
pretty
what
cool.
Overthrow just said too.
Oh,
we know that there are Vec specific node policies, right? So it could be Vec nodes that focus on constellations, such as relics. I like that. That's a good thought, Overthrow.
Yeah.
More like, I think the Vec have a better chance of finding the constellations and a slight bump on stats if they find them. That's kind of what I was thinking also, Ravon, was that it's possibly part of the racial bonus, so they probably have an easier time finding them. But I don't know. It's interesting to think about. And yes, Steven is definitely a troll. He loves to tease things, and and any little bit of info that he can give away before Maggie tells him no, he will. It's
true.
But I actually, the rest of this is going to be kind of talking about our overall feeling of the showcase and the dev stream. But one thing I wanted to share was that I really enjoyed seeing them play together. Granted, a lot of people were a little bit frustrated that it was such a long video. And if I were looking for something to critique, the only critique that I could possibly come up with is it could have been a couple of shorter videos, sure. But my own selfish reasoning, I enjoy the fact that it's a 40-minute long video, because now we have one really long video that we can play in the background. But aside from that, I really enjoyed seeing the naturalness of the cleric abilities. I am not really preferring one or the other in terms of the previous showcases where they're specifically saying they're showcasing like the ranger, for example, and then we're specifically talking about like the abilities. But it was kind of nice to kind of get a feeling of what the abilities were like just by watching them play together. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think just so you're saying that. Just could you repeat it one more time? I'm so sorry, because I just want to make sure I know like what you're getting at, because you're talking about the players playing together. But
yeah, so all in all, I was just talking about how much it was really awesome seeing the cleric abilities, be it maybe not in their normal way of showcasing it, but it was still really cool to see how they work together with the other skills.
Yeah, I thought, right, and again, to play on the word synergy, but there's just synergy of the party. I thought that was like, just super sick in itself. I really think conviction is super cool, and I kind of just want to play a cleric just to play around with that, even if it's for like 5 minutes. Choosing to do more damage to build up stacks of conviction, and then deciding to heal and having it hit more than one player. Or having it hit an additional player. I thought that entire thing was super cool. Seeing the actual synergy, right, when a character was staggered, and then them getting hit again to being stunned. I thought that was amazing. Because from my memory, we didn't have any of this in Alpha 1. So now,
not that I remember.
Right. So like, what is our gameplay, and what is our experience and memories going to be like in Alpha 2 when we have all of these things? And again, I think a lot of people are forgetting these things. People just want, big attack, go boom. You know what I'm saying? Steven go Alpha 2 release date 1 type of thing. And it's just like these things build up to that. But no, overall, I truly enjoyed it. I'm also like, I typically try to be like a positive person in every area of my life. So I'm just like, they needed more time, or, just give them more time. But now, like, we got 3 characters playing together. We got to see the Ranger again, which is cool. We got to see the Cleric. It was the Ranger, the Cleric, and the Fighter, and like, just to see all those 3 different races and classes just in that same, like in a combined enforcement, just felt like really cool, because that could have been us 3. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right, just like running around for 40 minutes, looking for the Sindal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Sindal. Yeah.
So,
I think my only reservation is I kind of wish there was a smaller, like 5 to 10 minute video real quick, just highlighting the Cleric and saying, hey, these are the skills, kind of like they did with the other classes. Like, this is this skill, this is that skill, this is that skill.
The Ranger,
but
sorry,
at the same time, like, it was a covering all the bases at once kind of video, where they had the Cleric skills that didn't really go into detail on all of them, but you could see them. And it gives content creators a chance to dig through stuff and say, look what I found, and then they can explain it to everybody.
But I think, and I think in just like, if I had to say, like, if someone asked me, it was like, Q, like, you can't just keep loving Intrepid, like what is something that they're doing wrong, or like, what is something they did wrong in this development update? I would say it's exactly what you just said, Vertec, and this is exactly how we started off this stream tonight, and that's exactly what I was saying with the whole active blocking. It seemed like it was kind of just like all right, like, this is active blocking, and like, what's the next thing? And it doesn't do it any justice. It needs its own segment, so the Cleric definitely needed like a 5 to 10 minute segment on what's happening. Steven was just like, Trad, you want to tell us a little more about conviction? And like, they're not as enthusiastic as Steven, and like, that's okay, and they're like, sure. And like, it's for each stack it builds up, it amplifies your abilities. And Steven's like, wow, that's so nice. Like, that's what we get. And like again, like, like, being in the community and just kind of like, being hip to Steven's like humor and just kind of how things go, I can appreciate that. But I can see how like newer fans are just like, this is outrageous. Never again. I'm going back to RuneScape. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah.
There's also,
honestly,
I forget.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to key on something real quick. That somebody also mentioned it earlier. I think it was Overthrow, maybe. I forget who said it, but they even said that there are a lot of people who are doing the griping that are really just expecting every single stream to like knock the previous one out of the park. Every single one has to be bigger, better, more wicked and flashy stream.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily have to be. They can kick back and play a game, and we saw what the Cleric could do. It just wasn't highlighted and explained, so we had to dig through and craft on stuff and look at stuff and rewatch the videos, which, honestly, as a content creator, that's kind of cool. There were some things left for the content creators to actually describe and find and bring to their communities, right?
To my point, I've actually just shared with you guys, Jalon from Paradox Gaming Network did the Ashes of Creation showcase and kind of is chatting about it a bit. And there's a lot of other people that actually went through and they made that cleric highlight video. I myself actually have gone through and taken screenshots that we could probably talk about more in depth in the post podcast show. But I thought it was really interesting to be able to grab those little screenshots from this video here of what some of those skills did, because he didn't go through it. But all in all, my opinion on this, on specifically the cleric showcase, kind of, is that some of those things are hard to show with just one person, with just Steven being in there. Like with the other classes, like there's no way you could have, without anybody else being in there, the stream would have been better if Steven was narrating and TV was playing cleric all over there. But basically, there's no way you could have done that class synergy without somebody else being there. And sure, you could describe it, but it's not as cool as seeing it, and seeing the animations and showing like, hey, by the way, this is what we've been working on. But yeah, I want to kind of touch on something. By the way, welcome in, Tilly. I was saying as you were coming in, because Golid and somebody else was talking about DPS healing. And honestly, I really did not like Discipline Priest in World of Warcraft. I hated it. I didn't like it. I hated the fact that I had to keep up shields. I hated the fact that it was like a lot for me to manage. Like my ADHD brain was like, what happens if I can't keep the shields up? Then what? And it was just a lot of pressure for me, and I got scared of trying it. But this makes me want to try the way that they're planning on doing cleric. This makes me want to attack the creatures. I feel like I can actually do damage. The biggest complaint I had when I was playing World of Warcraft with Vertag was I don't do any damage. I need help. I need somebody with me because I die, or like I'm struggling to get through the content because I'm healing myself so I don't die, but I'm not doing as much damage. And so this seems like an interesting step, and I'm interested in seeing how it feels myself.
Yeah, see, I've always enjoyed the more complex healers, things that make you pre-plan and stack things up. I think it's because I did tank for so long before I touched healer, maybe. Yeah. But like if we're talking about WoW, I loved the tree. I love tree healing, Disc Priest, and before they got rid of it, the Fist Weaver monk. Because you had to plan ahead. You had to, with Disc Priest and the Fist Weaver, you had to actually do some damage to build up stacks of this and that before you could do your most effective heals. The tree, it was, if you're trying to do like main raid healing, it can be pretty hectic because you got to drop a whole lot of little hots everywhere. And then after you get all the little hots, then you can drop a bigger hot here or there, and then you use, I forget what the name of the skill was because I haven't played it in like forever, but then it would burst heal everybody who's in your AoE that has a small ticking hot on them, and that's your big raid heal. But you had to pre-plan and spread your baby heals across everybody first. Yeah. And I was like those mechanics.
Yeah. I pinned something from Name A, because Name A said, I came in on the weather update, so every stream before this one was kind of mid, but a full freaking raid with new combat mechanics, unique enemies, stargazing, that made this one just a little bit better than the weather updates. And I wanted to touch on this because that actually brings me to my point of how I feel about this video. If you did not give me the title, if you did not tell me that they teased cleric before doing this, you know what this feels like to me? A nice little wrap up with a beautiful little bow of everything they've done this year, all in one video. We see rain, we see a new terrain, we see this fog that's rolling across the ground.
Beautiful, by the way. Oh my god.
Yeah, I love it. It feels alive. It feels real, and I feel like it's a great way to just wrap up a lot of what they've done throughout this whole entire year and tie it all together into one video with goodies.
I agree. Can we, and really quick, just like, dude, how big is the freaking graveyard? Like,
right?
The graveyard genuinely, I'm like, dude, like, are they in a town?
I got lost watching them. I was like, wait, hold on. How did you get back there? How did you even know where to go?
So big. And so, but just like stuff like that, I'm like, and again, everyone can have their own opinions, but I genuinely enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Chibi mentioned it, and I gotta chuckle out of it too with the respawn being in the middle of a circle of gravestones surrounded by zombies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh great, you respawn in the world just to look at gravestones. Just looking at the night sky while having a downtime with your friends is really it gives a unique touch to the game, which I like. Yeah, I mean, the ambiance is amazing. There was people that mentioned, I heard Jalon talking about this. He was in stream and they were watching the live stream and they thought that the crickets were like real crickets outside of their windows. Like, oh my gosh, what was that? Like, why are the bugs getting noisy out of nowhere? And then they realized it was the game. And I just have to say, I don't think Bear will ever see this, but on that note, Bear McCreary got a award last night for, I believe, God of War for best sound, and we have Bear McCreary working on Ashes.
He's lit.
This is bananas. Like,
he's lit.
I am excited by that, and also congratulations on your award. You know, that's awesome. Like, I think that's awesome.
But glad to be sorry.
Oh no, I can't wait to hear what he makes for Ashes.
I think just two things. The ambience. Oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite things about this update. Just like, because I feel like I've played games before, right? And it'll be night and it's just like, okay, it's just dark and like the street lights are on now, right. You know, and nothing is different. But you know, like, we got the fog. We got, you know, like the sounds, just like everything. It really was a mood shift, you know. It almost made me feel like I had to have my guard up, just like while watching it. I was like, wow, like this is really interesting, you know. And then my second point, obviously, just because I keep saying it all night, we have to wait to see what they're gonna do. We have Bear, like bro, like I'm telling you guys, I could do an entire documentary on just waiting, you know. I know we talked about like Alpha 2 dates, but I wouldn't be surprised if the game didn't come out to like 2025, and like that's okay. 2024, that's okay. Like, you know, freaking, I don't know. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that they showcase. Like, I noticed, I don't know if anybody else knows, like, they weren't just sitting there. When they sat there, their mana regen was sped up a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I zoomed in and I was watching the numbers and I was like, whoa, like, ever since they sat down, they went by really, really fast. And I mean, there's so much more that I can touch on with this, but in general, I kind of polled people on our Twitter and I said, what was your favorite part of the update this last Friday? And it was actually very even, although we only had 11 responses, but that's more than I expected. It was 27.3% said cleric reveal, 27.3% said other things, which Chaos was like, hey, that group gameplay though. I was like, I know, I need me some more of that. And then another 27.3% said all of it, and then a little bit less said the day and night cycle. But I mean, there's so much stuff that they showed. It's just, I understand other people maybe not being as excited, but knowing what this means, I mean, if you have not been in this community for like name A for you who just joined in August, bows may not seem like a big deal to you, but here's why they're a big deal. In APOC, they were broken. In Alpha 1, they were still broken. The fact that they're working is amazing. Like, they fixed it. They got it to work. That's awesome. This is the first time we're actually seeing bows since Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I think there was somebody like, they were like, don't touch bows, you're gonna die in like Alpha 1, I think. But like, yeah. I mean, it was amazing. It was crazy. But that just shows you, like, there's a lot that goes behind the weapons, you know. Let's see. It was so strange that Steven chopped down that tree for supplies and then mentioned a campfire, and then nothing happened with the wood. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Not the same thing.
it may have been one of those like I had a plan, but then also we spent so long trying to get things done that like the other stuff couldn't get done. But I mean, to Jalon's credit, that's probably where a little bit more planning for the video could probably have helped that. But I don't know, it's kind of fun just seeing them also just like wander around the world. But maybe you pushed the campfire button, forgot to process the wood or something. Well, I think he actually chops down the tree and then leaves the wood there.
Yeah, there was because I thought that was funny too. It was hey, maybe we need some wood for some supplies. Chop, chop, chop. So why don't we just go ahead and run on in here?
Tilly says, I actually am glad Steven had mentioned in the stream that Ashes would be more difficult than what was shown in the stream. A lot of MMOs are too easy, in my opinion. And as a good example is when ESO was level based, if you went to a high level area, you felt it, and I enjoyed it because it felt good killing higher level mobs. And yeah, I like the fact that there's going to be the difficulty level, right?
Yeah.
Name A says, I'm in game development. I've been blown away by the amount of progress during each stream, right? It's crazy. It's honestly, and the biggest changes we've seen, and part of it is I feel like people may have forgotten this, but you know, Intrepid was in a studio before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit and everybody had to go to their own homes. The issue with UE4 was that in order for one person working on, say, this area right here, another person needed to log out of that area so that they could log in and work on stuff. UE5 fixed that by letting multiple people come in here and work at the same time. And I think that's why we're seeing like pretty decent leaps forward, to be honest, is because they're able to be more productive.
Yeah.
I would like a certain areas in Ashes be like Elden Ring in the way that if you mess up, you just die. I mean, I died during Alpha 1. I'm not going to lie. I died 3 times. The first 2 to stupid, well, I guess the last one to stupidity. The first one was an accident. The second one, I hadn't quite figured out what killed me. And the third one, I was just curious, so I tried it and then I died. Then I had to make a new character.
As one does.
But there was some poison and I drank it, I think. And it killed me.
Because I think, because you were explaining that, thinking that it was it was a coincidence because somebody hit you at the same time that you died, so you thought it was just that.
Yeah. Yeah. That sucks so freaking bad. A partner left himself logged in for a month, locking the rest of us out. Yeah, see? And that's
crazy.
That's a horrible thing to have to deal with. But like, yeah, if somebody gets sick and goes on vacation and forgets to log out, like, is somebody gonna run over to their house? Do they even know where they live?
like break in their house?
Yeah.
Ashes.
Leave a little note like, hey, sorry about the damage, but we need it in. I don't know. You know what we haven't heard or seen recently is the type of utility spell from A1 where the cleric cleanses the poison cloud. Yeah, and they haven't really talked a whole lot about utility skills in general, so I'm interested in seeing either if they're not really doing any updates on that because they don't need to, or if they're saving utilities for something else. It's one of the things I'm curious about. The other thing I have here for the same topic is just a thread of asking people what their favorite thing was from the development, and a lot of people like the way that the spells are looking and the synergy is kind of the same feelings that we have. But if you guys want to kind of look through it, here's the link. I won't go through it too much, just mainly because a lot of the stuff that they're saying is what we're saying too. So yeah. That kind of takes me to the random topics, and to enter into the random topics, I wanted to know, what is one thing about nighttime gameplay that you cannot live without? I'm interested in knowing.
I think for me, again, it's just like the ambience, right? Just like just like having that clear day. So I know this is like so far off right now, but just bear with me, everyone. So Pokemon Gold and Silver and Crystal was the first Pokemon game to include the night and day cycle. And I remember playing at night because certain Pokemon would come out at night, right? There was like the
like concert and stuff.
Yeah, like everything changed, you know. So it's like, all right, like, am I even like prepared? Like, do I have Pokemon to be able to fight these other things, like these night Pokemon that are coming, the Pokemon that are coming out at night, excuse me, because they're obviously like different types. I don't want Ashes to be like Pokemon, but what I'm saying is, again, it's setting the tone. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I really want. Something that like just makes me feel like I'm genuinely playing at night. What is the word I'm looking for? What systems do we have in place that make it like that make this is night, right, compared to like when it's day?
Right.
So that's what I need. I need the tone to be set.
I thought it'd be really cool to have like bioluminescent, like they do have under Realm, but also just specific flowers and node things to be harvestable that would only come out at night. Just like you said, it really brings to life, like, for example, my cat, where is she all day? I don't know. When I'm trying to go to sleep, where is she? Yelling at me. That's a change.
That's how you know it's nighttime.
Right on cue. But yeah, no, I'm excited. What are your thoughts, Vertec?
I'm kind of the same thing as like, I know is there needs to be a definite, this is nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
This is nighttime. Like the question they put out, like how dark should it be for night? I think it should be noticeably dark. No matter how many moons are out, no matter how much sun is going to shine off of them, or how many stars there are in the sky, there should be a definite this is night. It doesn't need to be pitch black and, you know, require torches to walk around.
Yeah.
Maybe not that dark. I'm okay with it not being a, you know, horror survival game where the ghosts are going to eat me if the lights go out. But it needs to be I'm walking through the woods and it is dark and spooky, or at least just dark. You know, the crickets come out, the predators that hunt at night come out, owls are flapping through the sky. Like stuff like that, and just know that it's nighttime. If I look away from my computer, I'm not playing for like 5 minutes because someone's talking to me, and I turn back around, I need to know that there's a difference. And then now it's night, and I need to watch out for mountain lions stalking or something.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chibi.
No, it's all good. I was just gonna say, name, if you want it that dark, you can just turn down your brightness. You're good. Your turn.
Another example I was going to put in this, another video game that I think that does this almost perfectly. Again, you guys are all probably going to laugh, is Minecraft, though. Minecraft, if you guys have never played Minecraft, like in the day, you know, like you got you know, like your pigs, your cows, everything's out. But at night, that's when like your creepers come out, the zombies come out, the spiders come out. If you don't sleep for a few days, the phantoms come out. So it gives you like a level of anxiety. Like it's like, all right, like if you're gonna play at night, like that's fine, but just know like you're probably gonna die, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like they do it really, really, really well at like setting the tone there as well.
Yeah, I love like looking at the video right now. I love this level of darkness. Sure, a little bit darker would be fine, but honestly, this is perfect. This feels like nighttime to me because it's never gonna be 100% dark unless the moon is covered. And this is also Vera. There's 3 moons. Like there's gonna be a little bit, well, there are at least 3 moons. This is what we can see in the sky in this video. But like that means that there's gonna be a little bit more light reflected off the moon than we have with just 1 moon. So there's that to be in mind. And then this like nebula looking thing, that's awesome. Yeah, 2.5 moons. Thank you. Yeah, technically it's not a third one.
That's no moon.
All good. Yeah, exactly. We figure out how bright night is when there's a full moon and there's no light pollution and things like that. It actually gets pretty bright when you get adjusted to it. It was more of a Creativerse fan since it is a free to play Minecraft style game. Oh, nice. But the one thing that I want to say is this will kind of resonate with you craft lovers out there, kind of like me, but it would be, this is from Brethian. Brethian says, in response to my question, which is what Ash has asked, it would be interesting if certain crafting materials were only available at night, certain plants that only bloomed under the moon, or some ores and gems that need darkness. It means that some very rare materials could require full moon or no moon. And they go on to say, I'd like crafting special items to feel special. Too often MMORPGs just have world materials and then gate the special stuff with requiring raids, and I've never been a fan of that. What story of herbalists or blacksmiths has them fighting gods for an ingot or an herb, for example? Yeah, they do, Overthrow. Isn't that cool? So yeah, I thought that would be awesome too, because Earth needs to up its moon game.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, no, I think it's really neat. Like somebody said, what is that circle for that they're standing on? I don't know. Maybe we saw cultist. Maybe there's something the cultists are doing in the graveyard. Who knows? Maybe there's a blood moon.
Cult of the Stars.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
that's Soulbreaker's Soulbreaker's altar right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Cult of the Stars sounds like a cult of Vec oracles. But let's see, it's already 8:36. Where does that put us on time? I think we got
we got about 5-6 minutes before we should probably exit.
I just want to go ahead and toss these out there for you guys in case you haven't seen them on the forums. These are just Intrepid asking for your feedback. As always, your feedback is helpful. I think it helps them understand if they're going in a good direction or not. And of course, I must always say, please make it constructive feedback, because that is the best feedback.
True.
It's cool if you don't like something, but explain what you think could be done better or why in a positive manner, you know. But I will toss this over to Vertek because I keep chatting away.
All right. I was going to show off some of the art that has come out.
Okay, so while you get that started, I guess I could ask Q, what was your favorite part, if you had to pick one thing? Ooh, look at that guy from the development stream this last Friday.
I'm gonna have to say the synergies, honestly. Again, the ambience was fire. Just the setting was fire. But I really do believe just like seeing the synergies, like that's really gonna change a lot of things. You know, the three of us could go do a dungeon, and you know, maybe we're not spec'd out the like a certain way, and you know, if we do, we can get some more synergies going. I think stuff like that is just like super cool, because with 64 classes and you know, a plethora of move sets, how many synergies are we going to be able to create? Not necessarily create, but how many are already going to be implemented into the game? That stuff to me, I love that, you know. So it's like, if it's us three plus, you know, like 17 more people, and we're in a, you know, a group of 20, you know, how does a group of 20, you know, doing synergies look? Can you even do that? Can we like, you know, do synergies on like bosses and stuff like that? So just like looking at that, like I said, I see things and I run with them, because that's just where my mind is, just like right with the Vec and constellations. Maybe it's an environmental buff, you know, whatever. So it's just like seeing synergies. It's like, yo, like, you know, like what if there's 40 of us and we're all on a boat, and you know, we all, you know, attack at the same time, like type of thing. I just love seeing stuff like that, and it just plays into the whole like group factor as well. So synergies. Yeah,
nice. Mine would have to be the cleric skills, and just seeing just the interesting things like the chains. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you can't use chains if you're moving.
Yes. Yeah.
it was really neat to see that. So yeah. Oh, thank you. I didn't know what the thing was because that was different from what I said it to earlier.
Oh yeah. I had to finish up and make the command too.
Yeah.
I could make it more descriptive.
By the way, this awesome guy is by Carmes. I don't know how you say this person's name, but we found it and we loved it, so we wanted to share it. Here it is on the forums. What about yours, Vertec?
Yeah, sorry, I had to craft out that command real quick here. What the question was what stands out the most from the live stream?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway from the live stream as we wrap up here.
The biggest takeaway is honestly the most general for me. And it's kind of what you mentioned earlier, where this video summed up a lot of the little reveals. I mean, little quote unquote. I'm using quotey fingers right now. Little reveals throughout the year, all in one video. There was the fighter doing stuff. There was the ranger doing stuff. There was the zombies, which we haven't seen in action before. We saw still images of them. There was the golem we hadn't seen in action before. We saw I think the concept art and then maybe the model or something at some point. It was definitely in the Halloween promos. The cleric doing, using up their new skills. It was just all in all, the fact that video was crafted together and it included all three of those classes and kind of displayed a little bit of everything, even down to if Steven hadn't taken that one run over to the side and chopped down that one tree. It may not have included that, but he did run over and chop that down. Therefore, it included the chopping down of trees, which I think maybe it's just the way it fell, but I think they even tuned it so it looks a little bit better because some of them in the spotlight for the gathering, they kind of looked rubbery when they hit the ground. But it looked a little bit less rubbery. Maybe it's just my imagination.
That poor golem. No, I mean, I could probably go on off of that a little bit more. I guess, because we just have one more thing to share first. But yeah, no, I think somebody else had mentioned that they were a little unhappy with the way that the tree had fallen, because they felt like it should have hit some of the other trees. But honestly, I think it makes sense that it doesn't, because some of the other games where they do hit the other trees, they also knock down those trees. And in a game like Ashes, where the ecosystem is very particular, right? Imagine accidentally chopping down one and taking 4 others with it, and then you've completely obliterated the ecosystem in that area. Like, that would suck, I think. And I think that's why they chose to let it react with the ground, but not necessarily other trees. Or I don't know if it hit a player character, but yeah. That sounds hilarious until you don't get any of those rare mobs anymore because the trees took each other out.
Imagine dominoing down half a forest.
Oh my gosh, that'd be horrible. Yeah, who knows everything? That's a good point. Trees still look too rubbery. Weirdly worried they won't be able to make it look natural, and for some reason the rubbery branches killed my immersion hard. Oh, I'm sorry, Nair. If trees had fall damage, it could kill players, right? And Steven said he didn't want that because of people agree with it. Yeah, exactly. If the tree does always fall the same direction, so you can aim them. Yeah. Doesn't, I guess, always fall in the same direction. I don't know. But then we have, what is this, a Vec? A sneaky Vec?
Vec Rogue. How neat is that? I like it.
Mm-hmm. I think
that
it's
is
really
from
cool.
I am gonna butcher the name if I say it. I think maybe something like Wuxing Yi. I could be terribly
Possibly.
wrong though.
I'm scared to be wrong too.
Hey,
Woo.
Hey, I'm not ashamed to admit my ignorance. I don't know.
We'll call them Woo. I like it.
Yeah.
If
there you go.
Golid said Woo, I'll call them Woo. It always breaks where the axe hits the tree. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was thinking if it's always falling in the same direction, then you can't really aim it because it's always going like east, for example, no matter where you're hitting. But I see what you're saying. That was just a weird thing my brain was trying to wrap around. But yeah. And the last thing I wanted to share, by the way, if you guys didn't know, Fupo is a little writer. So for those of you that enjoy role play, Fupo wrote like a little like story thing with Z and I think Alluring and a few of the other devs, and it was meant to also put in, I guess, a question, but I just thought it was really cute because I hadn't seen it before, so I wanted to share that with you guys.
It is cute. It is cute.
Yeah, all in all, I think that kind of wraps up our podcast. For those of you that are new around here, we do our podcast and then we come back a little while, like about maybe 10-15 minutes later, for the post-podcast chat. So that's a bit more unstructured, but
just shoot the breeze. So yeah, we will be back in about 15 minutes. But before we take off,
yes,
Tikeno, did you have anything you wish to say to everybody? Anything you would like to plug?
Just come along for the ride, I guess, with me and following Ashes, on Vera. So I'm a YouTube content creator and I stream on Twitch. So if you guys want to, keep up with the content there, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel for sure. And follow me on Twitter and Twitch to stay up to date. All I talk about is Ashes. So yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We're happy you joined us. Fun little podcast.
Thank you so much.
Fun chatting with you.
This was like super cool. Hopefully I can come back like once Ashes like releases, whether it be like alpha, and we can like chop it up again because I really enjoy this.
Or if you have Alpha 2 access, maybe you can join us if we can get into Alpha 2. We can all just play together.
No, that'd be even great. So you guys can show me how to tank and be a cleric. So
there you go. I don't know. I might have to show you how to tank if it's anything like Alpha 1.
Oh, it's a long story there, but yeah, maybe. Maybe. Hey, you never know. You might even like a little shtick we did during Alpha 1. After all the NDA thing and everything dropped, we said, hey, we'll just go and chat, and whatever chat wants us to do, we'll go do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll go and test whatever they want to see tested. But, anyway, before we get too far off topic and start chatting again for the next hour, thank you everybody for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out with us. Your time is valuable. You do not get returns, no refunds. You spent it here, and we appreciate that. Chibi, did you want to say anything before we disappear for food?
Yes, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We look forward to chatting with you guys in just a little bit. We're going to grab ourselves some nom. So why don't you guys get yourself a drink, a snack, and a restroom break, and we'll see you back here in about 15. And Q, it was awesome having you on. It's been a great episode, and it seems like everybody else agrees.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you all. Seriously. Thank you.
Your pleasure.
All right, everybody, take care. See you in about 15.
See you soon.
Bye.